If you're just your brain, then who is asking that question? What if everything you believe about yourself is an illusion? Your name, your memories, your voice inside your head, what if they're not really you? For centuries, humans have looked inward and asked the same haunting question, who am I? Science tells us we are brains made of cells and chemicals. Spiritual teachings say we are more than flesh and bone. But here's the strange part. If your brain is just a physical organ, then how do you experience anything? Who is watching your thoughts? Who is hearing this right now? Let's begin the journey to uncover the mind-body mystery. Long ago, the philosopher Descartes said, we are made of two things, body and mind. He called it dualism. He believed your mind was like a ghost in a machine. The body followed physical laws, but the mind, that was something else entirely. But over time, science began to reject this idea. Instead, it said everything, even the mind must come from the physical world. This belief is called materialism. It says your thoughts, feelings, and sense of self all come from the brain. Nothing more, yet something didn't sit right. No matter how many brain scans scientists ran, they couldn't find the place where thoughts begin. The more we studied the brain, the more the mystery deepened. Think about it. You can watch your thoughts, you can notice your emotions. You can even step back and observe yourself thinking. So who's doing the watching? Some ancient teachings say the self isn't something you can point to. It's not your name or your story. It's the awareness behind it all. Even science has found strange clues. In one experiment, people felt like a rubber hand was part of their body. In another, people with split brains acted like they had two minds. If your self can be split, shaped, or tricked, is it even real? Or are you something deeper? Something that can never be touched or seen, only known from within? Here's where things get even stranger. Scientists can measure brain activity. They can see what lights up when you see a color or feel pain, but they can't explain why those things feel like anything at all. Why does red look red? Why does music stir your soul? This is called the hard problem of consciousness, and so far no one has solved it. Some think maybe everything, even atoms and electrons, has a tiny bit of consciousness. This is called panpsychism. Others say, we need a totally new way to understand reality, one where mind and matter aren't separate, but two sides of the same coin. Maybe ancient wisdom knew this all along. Here's a theory that turns everything upside down. What if the brain isn't creating your thoughts, but picking them up? Like a radio tuning into a signal, maybe your brain receives consciousness instead of producing it. Think about near-death experiences, or people whose brains are damaged, but who still have clear, powerful awareness. Or psychedelic journeys where people feel more alive than ever. All of these hint at something. Maybe the mind isn't locked inside the brain. Maybe it's bigger. Now let's be fair. Many scientists believe consciousness comes from complexity. They say when enough parts work together, like neurons in your brain, something new happens. Awareness, they point to artificial intelligence. Could a machine ever become conscious if it gets smart enough? But even then, why would a machine feel anything? That's the heart of the mystery. You can explain how things work, but not why they're felt. Let's go even deeper. All around the world, ancient wisdom traditions have said something strange and beautiful. Consciousness isn't something that comes after the world, it comes before. In Hindu texts, it's said that all of reality happens inside awareness. In Hermetic and mystical traditions, the world is a dream in the mind of the One. What if the physical universe is not the source of consciousness, but the other way around? You are not your name. You are not your memories. You are not even your thoughts. You are the awareness in which all of that appears. This doesn't mean the brain doesn't matter. It means the brain might be the doorway, not the destination. So, ask yourself, if you are not just a brain, then who or what are you? The mystery isn't something to solve. It's something to experience, and maybe, just maybe, you already are. What if your thoughts, your emotions, your sense of self aren't really happening inside your brain? What if you are not who, or what you think you are? From the moment we're born, we're told the same story. The brain is in charge. It controls our every move, our memories, our feelings. We're just a body with a control center, nothing more. But what if that's not true? What if the brain isn't the master but the servant? What if consciousness doesn't come from the brain but flows through it? For centuries, philosophers, scientists, mystics, and monks have wrestled with the same riddle. What exactly are we? Are we just meat and neurons, or something far more mysterious? Tonight, we're peeling back the layers of the known to glimpse the unknown. This is not just a question about science, it's a question about you. Let's start with what modern science tells us. According to neuroscience, your brain is everything. It's a 3-pound organ made of neurons, chemicals, and electrical signals. Every thought, every emotion, every dream, you name it, can be traced to some activity inside that gray matter. You feel joy. That's dopamine. You remember your first kiss? That's a pattern of neurons firing in your hippocampus. Science has even gone as far as predicting decisions before you consciously make them. In some studies, machines detect your brain's intent before you're even aware of choosing. It's impressive, logical, convincing, and yet something doesn't quite fit. Because science can show us where fear lights up in the brain, but it can't explain why fear feels the way it does. It can trace the mechanics of memory, but it can't tell us who is remembering. If everything about you is just chemicals and circuits, then who is the one experiencing all of it? Who watches, who listens, who decides? This isn't a new mystery. In the 1600s, philosopher René Descartes asked the same question. He believed the body was a machine, but the mind was something else, something separate. His famous phrase, "I think, therefore I am," wasn't just about thought. It was about the self that knows its thinking. Descartes believed there had to be a soul, an immaterial observer that isn't made of matter at all. For centuries, thinkers have tried to solve this riddle. Plato spoke of a world of perfect forms beyond the senses. Kant believed the mind shaped reality itself. Even now, many scientists admit we still don't understand what consciousness really is. The more we try to measure it, the more it slips through our fingers. It's as if the mind refuses to be captured by tools made only for the material world. Here's where things get truly strange. You can understand how your eyes detect light, how your ears pick up sound, how your brain processes information, but none of that explains experience. Why does red feel like red? Why does music make you cry? Why does love hurt? This is what philosopher David Chalmers called the hard problem of consciousness. Not how the brain works, but why it feels like anything at all. Why is there an inner world? Why aren't we just walking machines reacting without feeling? Science has no answer, not even a clue. And that silence is starting to whisper something strange. Maybe consciousness isn't produced by the brain. Maybe it's something deeper. Maybe it's not the final result, but the starting point of all reality. Some believe consciousness is everywhere, woven into the very fabric of existence. Others think it's the only real thing, and the material world is just a reflection of it. Either way, the question deepens. Not, how does the brain create awareness? But, why would it need to? Let's flip the script. What if the brain isn't a creator, but a receiver? Imagine a radio. It doesn't make music. It receives it. What if your brain works the same way? Tuning into a signal, consciousness, that's already there? This idea isn't new. Thinkers like Aldous Huxley and William James suggested it long ago. And some ancient spiritual traditions have said the same for thousands of years. Now consider this. There are people with severely damaged brains, missing large portions of brain tissue, who still think clearly. Some even live normal lives. Others, after brain injury, suddenly gain skills they never had before. Perfect memory, the ability to play music flawlessly, solve complex math instantly. Near-death experiences, often report awareness continuing even when the brain has flatlined. These aren't fairy tales. These are real cases that challenge everything we think we know. If the brain can be damaged or shut off and consciousness continues, then maybe consciousness doesn't depend on the brain at all. Maybe your mind is not in your body. Maybe your body is in your mind. But wait, what if there's an even deeper twist? What if all of it, the brain, the mind, the world around you, is part of an illusion? Modern thinkers, including Elon Musk, have explored the idea that reality might be a simulation, a perfectly designed dream.